How you doing, guys? My name is Bobby Bless. I'm the number one Lions fan. You know, we had a little bit of a technical difficulties, but we're back, ready to go. Talk about those Lions.
Okay, right now I'm trying to see where it's at. Right now, it's catching up. Let me see where we're at.
I
Hold
think,
on.
I think, I think we should
We
be all
should be
right. Huh?
back, if I'm not mistaken. We should be
Yeah,
back.
I think we should be all right.
Yeah,
I'm about to
we're
open the
back. We're
line.
back. So yeah, that's funny though. So apparently, folks, if you're just joining us or you are getting a notification we're going live again, YouTube decided that it did not like the fact that.
Nope. So wait a minute. It took it. So this is the beginning. So hold on.
So
Hold
it should be a brand new link, Nate. It should be a brand new link. So and I'm watching us right now on it. So so we are back. We had a little bit of a hiccup there where apparently the YouTube wasn't liking my clips. They love Bobby's clips. They didn't like my clips. So anyway, we were talking about Keontae Thompson. We'll just finish out talking about these players, and hopefully we'll be able to get that other footage so that because we had a pretty good show there going. All of a sudden, YouTube put the kibosh on it. But anyway, Keontae Thompson, we were talking about it. He was kind of the do-all everything guy at Virginia. And it's kind of one of those situations where when you're the jack of all trades but the master of none, sometimes that can come back to, backfire on you, right, Nate?
Yeah. Yeah. But like you say, I mean, it gives you maximum versatility when you're talking about a team because you're going to have value. But I can see him on the practice squad. They can use him as part of the scout team because of his ability to play, a big mobile quarterback, depending on who we're playing. They can use him as that scout quarterback. They can do so many different things with him. So that's good as well. But again, it's one of those, hey, but what truly is he? It's like, dude, you do so many things, but is there one thing that you can honestly say that he does well? And the answer is no, in my opinion. What do you see?
Well, me honestly, man, to be honest, tight end that didn't get drafted probably can't block. Nothing interesting to me, to be honest. Probably can't body, to be honest. Uh, uh, I don't see. I see what he brings to the table as far as what he got. Him having the ball in his hand. But as far as like, would I take him over anything that we already had, over the three guys we had last year, over the kid we just no? I don't think he got a chance. And to be honest with you, I think he'll be lucky to make the special team. I mean, make a practice team. So I don't want to be too negative on the guy. So that's really my take on that one, big dog.
Well, I think what's going to be interesting here, and maybe I'm just being too optimistic here, but I think what's going to be interesting is when you take a player who has been forced to be a jack of all trades for their college team, they then go into an organization where they say, okay, you are no longer going to be a jack of all trades. We're going to find one spot for you, and we're going to have you work on that spot and perfect that spot for us. And they're actually going to give him a role, one role instead of 9 roles that you got to try to, somehow figure out how to do. And I know
then maybe he can just focus on that. Yeah, that makes sense, Elijah.
And so really my thing is, I don't see him as a wide receiver because the speed ain't there. I see him as a tight end. But my question is he going to be good enough? Because remember, he's undrafted, so he only has rookie minicamp. If he survives rookie minicamp, then he's got training camp and the preseason to prove himself. So if they do say, okay, you are now a tight end, he's got to hit the ground running. He has no time to make mistakes. Like, for example, I've seen a lot of wide receivers who get drafted late or go undrafted. They make it out of rookie camp. Things are looking good. They're starting to get talked about because there's always those preseason sweethearts that we fall in love with and we say, man, I really hope he makes the team. And then they start dropping passes in preseason games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, I feel like if he's not being forced to be a jack of all trades, if they say, here's the one position we need you at, we need you to focus on that and that only, he might actually turn out to be successful because he's got the size. but I think he's a tight end. I don't think he's a wide receiver. So with that,
Yeah, I don't think he's nothing special. I swear,
I
I don't want
don't.
to be.
I mean, you think about it, man. At the NFL level, lining him up at tight end, they're gonna kill him. Because first, he's not a. Yeah, there's a difference when you're big and knowing how to use that, but that means he can't be like a gimmick guy. It's almost like when we had Joseph Fourier. You knew what was coming when he was in the game, but he was such a mismatch at 7 feet. You knew
he caught that ball. He ain't dropped them pass. He ain't dropped passes.
Right. So you knew what was coming. So with him, he's not 7 feet. So he's going to be in here, and when he comes in the game, they gonna knock the hell out of him. They just gonna push him down. I'm just saying. I mean, dude, his legs look like chopsticks. They gonna knock that dude down, man.
Hey, Elijah, I'm ready to try my video too. If I don't know if that's a perfect time or you want to.
Hey, I'm so we will do that here in just a second. I just got one more guy that we were going to talk about, and then we.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So let's talk about Mo. That's right. So you've heard you've heard Nate say in the past that Mo is a fickle friend, but that's not the Mo we're talking about. So this is somebody who obviously was a very good Big Ten running back in Minnesota. Nate, what else can you tell us about Mo, and where do you see him fitting in that running back room, assuming he makes the team? What do you think?
Third now. I mean, he's Mo's going to be a third back. He is he's very similar to what we have in David Montgomery. And again, his production behind a piss poor offensive line. He didn't have the blocking from the wide receivers and tight ends and things. Look, man. Okay. So it's one of them where this guy is, like I said, it was amazing to me he went undrafted. But again, he did have that ACL injury. But you're gonna love him. I mean, dude, again, if we come into those issues where you have running backs that are banged up or need a break, you have the perfect complement right now in that running back room where there shouldn't be any drop-off. Him and David Montgomery are going to be one and the same as far as their type of running style, playing style, and ability. They don't have that home run speed that Jameer has, but they have good enough speed to take it to the crib. Where Jameer is going to be top 3 fastest running backs in the entire NFL. Mm-hmm. These guys, they're still, 30 yards, 40 yards, they can take it to the crib. Jameer takes it at so that's the difference. But I love it, man. And he can pass block, he can catch, he's smart. Man, you can use him with screens or simple runs, draws, whatever you want to do with Mo. Mo gets busy.
So of the running backs that we currently have on the roster, and I'll include Mo, even though he's still got to make the team from rookie minicamp, who should be the most afraid right now? Or not, maybe not afraid. I mean, these are all grown men. I don't want to say afraid. But who should be the most threatened, I guess you would say, by the presence of Mo and what he could be? And second part of my question, is this a response, going out and getting Mo? Is this a response of maybe Brad Holmes learning from the DeAndre Swift situation and saying, listen, we don't want to be down to a situation where we don't have explosiveness out of the backfield? Because once we had DeAndre go out, we had Jamal and we had Craig, but there was a noticeable drop-off in our running back room. So it's kind of a two-parter, whichever one you want to go first.
Well, with the explosive part, that was all done with Jameer, period. Jameer, like David Montgomery and Mo, I don't think neither one are as fast as DeAndre. They're not as quick. They're not as quick as DeAndre. Swift was his name. He was Swift. We see his ability to make guys miss. We've seen the one play we was at 3rd and 18, and he took a run for 25 yards off in the touchdown off of 2 spins out of a tackle. So it is a difference. But the guys that should be worried is 2. It's 2 of them. Justin Jackson and Craig Reynolds. Because Justin Jackson's the only purpose he truly serves to the team is a return guy. But guess what?
And he ain't all that. He ain't all that.
But he ain't all that. But guess what? Jameer is one hell of a returner. And then Craig Reynolds, you're a guy who just, spells everybody, and everybody, the team loved you. He was a guy who said, hey, we gave him a Lamborghini and he didn't crash it. That's what Craig Reynolds was. Now, here's the thing, Craig. We got another guy we can give the Lamborghini, and he won't crash it, but he has the ability to drive a manual transmission. So guess what? You're an automatic guy. You can't drive a stick, so you know how that goes. It is what it is.
So Nate, what we're going to do right now, because I don't know what's going to happen with all the work that we put in that first live stream. For folks who are just tuning in, we appreciate you finding us again. But for some reason, with my clips, not Bobby's clips, my clips, YouTube decided to suspend the stream. So I don't know if that means that it's going to post what we did do later on or not.
I'm actually checking now.
So what we're going to do right now is I just want to backtrack for a minute, okay? We had talked about Keontae Thompson out of Virginia. He's an undrafted free agent. We talked about Mo out of Minnesota, who was an undrafted free agent. We talked about Adrian Martinez. What I said quickly about Adrian Martinez, and I'm not going to show you a clip of him, but I think Adrian Martinez signals to Lions fans that there has been a change as far as how we value mobile quarterbacks, because in the past, we never really had mobile quarterbacks. Since I've been a Lions fan, back in 2007, we've always been a team that seemed to rely on pocket passing quarterbacks. So
nope, it's not up.
Okay, yeah, no worries. We'll just quickly recap what we were talking about. So with Adrian Martinez, we're not going to have 2 guys behind Jared Goff that are mobile. We're going to have Hendon Hooker when he comes back from injury. We're going to have Adrian Martinez. So that to me is interesting, because if you look at that situation, Jared Goff is the odd man out, and he's not going to suddenly be able to become a mobile passing quarterback. That's not something that I've ever seen done. A pocket passer suddenly developing a bunch of speed. I have seen somebody with a bunch of speed develop into a pocket passer, but I've never seen the opposite. So that's kind of a situation I would say to kind of keep your eye on there, because Jared Goff being the odd man out, this being the last year of his contract. Yes, there have been talks about contract extensions. Let's see what happens. Because everybody and their brother thought Jamal Williams getting a long-term extension to the Lions was a done deal, myself included. And all of us turned out to be wrong on that. So let's see what happens. I'm not coming for Jared Goff's job. That's not what I'm trying to say right now. I'm just saying, if you're looking at it as a unit, you've got 1 pocket passer and 2 mobile quarterbacks who can throw the ball. That's interesting. And then Adrian Martinez, obviously if Hendon Hooker is not ready to be the number 2 guy because of injury, I see Adrian beating out Nate Sudfeld, and I see Ben Johnson working in a goal line package to be able to have Adrian in there running the read option with Jahmyr Gibbs. So with that, Nate, you had said a little bit about Adrian, so let's quickly get that on this live stream so we can have it.
Well, again, Adrian has the ability to throw the ball. I'm going to give people a quick, if he's a better version of Denard Robinson.
Okay.
So that's about the best I can look. Even in college, he was always better. He's a better version of Denard Robinson because he's a better thrower. He's a better thrower. He's fast. Like I say, he was faster. He's always been faster than his running backs. And for your quarterback, that's crazy. But, his ability to run the RPO, his ability to break tackles, his ability to pass makes him a secret weapon, especially, if you put him in on special teams. And at Nebraska, he was also your placeholder. So when you call in these fake field goals, you have a quarterback who has the ability to run for it or throw it. Who's adept at throwing on the run. So he has all that, the a la Cordell Stewart type guy. No, he's not a traditional passer, but he also doesn't have a shitty delivery. Lamar is a good quarterback, but he has a shitty as his delivery and throwing motion is pretty whack. Adrian doesn't have that. So at Kansas State, it wasn't highlighted as much, but he's definitely going to be a guy that fans, when they see him play, they're going to be clamoring for Adrian Martinez, without a question.
So with that, I know we've already discussed this, but again, our other live stream probably will never see the light of day. It'll probably just be a situation where it's somewhere in YouTube's vault, which is unfortunate because we had some really good stuff earlier on. But we want to make sure we try to include everything that we were talking about before without doing everything over again. Here are the new jersey numbers for the players that were drafted. I want to give you that real quick, then we're going to go to Bobby. So Hendon Hooker is going to wear number 12. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to wear number 26. Brian Branch is going to wear number 32, but keep your eye out because maybe David Montgomery changes his mind. He was wearing number 5 because Swift was there. Maybe he goes and gets 32. We don't know yet. But Brian Branch definitely not going to get his college number because he was wearing number 14 at Alabama, and we got a guy who's pretty good. Maybe you've heard of him, who wears number 14 right now. So probably not going to happen with that one. Jack Campbell, he's going to be wearing number 46. That means that Craig Reynolds is going to, again, I'm going fast here so that we can get to Bobby. Sorsdale is going to be wearing number 75. Antoine Green is going to be wearing number 80. Laporta is going to be wearing number 87, and Broderick Martin is going to be wearing number 98. Those are the jersey numbers that were handed out today for the Lions draft picks. And with that, Bobby's been extremely patient. So, Bobby, I appreciate you. If you want to go ahead and try to share your screen, don't tell the folks at YouTube. We got to keep this hush-hush. Let's see if we can get this clip on.
Well, we're going to try this one time. If you liked it the first time, you're going to love it the second time. So here we go. Well, like Elijah was telling me in the meeting, I unknowns to myself, I come up with videos that the Detroit Lions don't even show sometimes, and that's because I do my own homework. And as me and Nate say, you don't leave it up to them damn experts. You know what I mean? You your own damn expert. Do your own damn homework. But here's Antoine Green. And like I said, when I think of draft players, when I think of draft picks and think of how this team is set up, you want smartness and you want toughness. And my example, the smart guy is going to be Mr. Antoine Green. So we just showing this, for a receiver, is you want to be a quarterback-friendly receiver. That's the ability to get open, of course. And getting open in the zone, believe it or not, is one of the hardest things that receivers do. You can't teach it. It's just, you got to have that feel. You got to want the ball, so you got to put yourself in the angle to get the ball, be good for the quarterback. So I'm going to hit play on this. As you can see, Antoine, he at the top of the screen. You see cutting down. And then the linebacker has to cut off. But see, he went backdoor on him. If Nate know basketball, you know that backdoor slip screen. That's the kind of move he made on that. Heck yeah, he made sure he was a target for that quarterback. And I don't know the quarterback name. Oh, wait a minute, we going it again. Oh, that's me with my damn finger.
That's May.
Yeah. So anyway, he got it, just the fact that he played it off the linebacker. As the video returned again for us, he played it off the linebacker. He seen a linebacker commit towards the quarterback, and he got himself open. He found that spot in the zone, and not only found a spot in the zone, he was able to turn his hips to make sure he can go towards the end zone, give that quarterback that nice little lane to drop the ball in there. And I think that's pretty good. I like so, Mr. Green, you're a smart one. I can't wait to see you in real action. So our next video is gonna be Mac. What's the kid name? Oh yeah, Broderick Martin.
So this is gonna
As
be
you can see,
Broderick.
this against this against Auburn. Auburn pretty good. And,
Mhm.
that's a pro. That's a pro guy. That's gonna be a pro guy. Once you going against the SEC, he's from Western Kentucky. But as you can see, his hands is amazing. When you a defensive tackle, them hands is gonna be your best friend. And as you can see him, he got him swinging like a rag doll. I can finally say rag doll ain't rag doll no more. So look, so this going in with it. This going through it or whatnot. I just feel like the guy, even though he's from Western Kentucky, he's going against a future pro, and he got him looking pretty bad. So he's able to engage, disengage, and as you can see, he stood right up. You know what I mean? He stood right up with that guy. I feel like Auburn is, top of the mountain for probably Western Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. So he's physical, he's strong. It looks like he mean too. So, a matter of fact, I seen him dressing, seen him with his little draft outfit. He was G'd up. So he's smart, he's strong, and the boy can dress. He's a winner. So, the next one is for my guy Elijah.
So hold up real quick, Bobby. Hold up real quick. I just want to mention this. So with Broderick Martin, the clip that Bobby's showing you.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You did tell me to say that, brother. My bad.
This is a clip that wasn't even shown by the Lions. Like, let that sink in for a minute, folks. Bobby is showing you something that he went and found, okay, that the Lions didn't even put out there, because the Lions put out like little highlight videos for each guy they drafted. And I watched on Twitter, and Twitter is like a very toxic place. I know that. But I watched on Twitter where people watched the highlight video the Lions put out and said, this guy can't get off a block. How is he going to make tackles in the backfield? I was seeing people, post that type of nonsense.
And this is exactly what he's doing in this video.
This is probably one of the many highlights that got Brad Holmes' attention, because he probably did the math and said, wait a damn minute now, that's Western Kentucky doing that to an SEC offensive lineman.
Yeah, he got 71 looking bad.
Yeah.
And they don't understand. But what I want to say, now think about it. This guy, this young man is 6'5". Keep in mind, he's 6'5", 335 pounds. So with that being said, he is sent, and he's meant to be in the middle to eat up double teams, to occupy two guys. So if that is his objective, is to occupy two guys, because pass rushing isn't going to be his thing. Why am I trying to disengage? My job is to occupy two guys so that Rodrigo, Jack Campbell, Anzalone, these guys can shoot through the gaps. He's the perfect type of zero technique that you run stunts with. So you will have Aiden Hutchinson rolling off his back into the A gap. You can have James Houston rolling off of him into the A gap. This guy is what you want.
Now, Nate, just real quick before Bobby goes to his next clip here. So are you saying, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, this is just a question. Are you saying that Broderick Martin, assuming everything goes according to plan, where he's like all the other Brad Holmes picks who actually end up playing for us, do you see him kind of being what Haloti Ngata was, where he's going to eat up the inside to give him opportunity?
Yeah, well, that's going to be the purpose. You're talking I won't even say Haloti Ngata, because Haloti Ngata, for that size, was a very good pass rusher. Think about a Vince Wilfork, a guy that's going to sit there and just don't worry about nothing else. If I get to the quarterback, I get there. My objective is to make sure that my linebackers can come free and knock the holy hell out of whoever's got the ball in their hands. Okay. That's going to be his job. That's it, plain and simple. Like one guy is not going to be able to block this dude. Like, like it's just that simple. If you think that
his,
you're going
his
to,
hands is way too good.
yeah, yeah. If you think you're gonna run inside while this big dude's in the game, ha ha, fooled you.
And to be honest, and to be honest, I think a lot of times when we think of defensive linemen, especially the tackles, we just assume that they all quarterback hunters. No, some guys got to play a role on the line. And the fact that he wasn't a great pass rusher is one of the reasons why we gonna be able to use him. And we gonna be able to use him because we got guys like my guy Lee McNeil, we got Mr. Bugs, them kind of guys that get him together and as a unit. And I like Elijah said, all these guys end up playing. So it's something that we seen because this is also one of the guys where they was happy to get him. You know what I mean? They was throwing a party in the damn draft room for him. So just by their reaction alone is one of the guys I really want to see get in action, get out there and get dirty. So it's something you were saying, brother.
Yeah. Who's your next guy, Bobby?
Oh yeah. This for you, Elijah. Let me make sure we ain't Here we go. I cut it off. So hopefully we won't get missed. But anyway, this is Hendon Hooker. And the thing I really want to show with this video is his arm strength, as Nate was saying. If you look at this, he throws it every bit of 50 yards, and he just took one step. He didn't strain himself, and that
Man,
thing
look
is
at
on the road.
accuracy, dog.
Yeah, that thing is on the road.
In the bread basket with Jalen
hey, I know one quarterback that we ain't gonna talk about too much that couldn't make that pass that accurate. But the Jared Goff, this the kind of stuff you wish Jared Goff can do, to be honest. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He didn't even strain himself. That ball is on the money. It looked like he threw it between two people. So like my guy Nate said, dropped it in the bread basket. This also like one of the because he got a long way to go before he be a legit pro, but this is one of the few plays in Tennessee offense where they actually gave him a chance to be a real quarterback, not throwing screens, not having them run. So that's another reason why I'm highlighting this because this is out of one of the million plays I've seen of him, but this is one of the few plays where I can see this consistently needing to happen on Sunday. So you got to have this in his toolbox. So this is the most, to me, most recognizable NFL caliber type play that the Lions offense needs and what is missing, that deep threat, that deep accuracy. And with this kid being able to sit down and watch play, I think he's going to be pretty okay, man. I think he's going to be pretty okay. I want his knee to heal up good. And, you know, as if anybody know, I'm a Jared Goff, baby, biggest fan, especially on the podcast. But once again, this is another guy that my brother, you know, had us break down all year, Brother Elijah. So when the pick was made, it wasn't no stranger. I know who this
Not
guy
to
is.
us.
It wasn't no stranger. So once again, and the most exciting thing that I took from the draft is how much Elijah know his shit. And one of the reasons why we coming together, man, is because it seemed like if it wasn't for you, I'd be like, what the hell is we doing? What is the hell we doing? But I've been hip to this about since January, maybe even longer before that, before the new year, right? So, hey, man, this team is headed in the right direction. And the fact that we didn't pick guys that we supposed to pick makes me like these guys even better. Even like to the fact that, hey, Bobby didn't know what the hell he was talking about. None of the news I talked about made it. And you see, baby Sewell go to Chicago Bears. Oh, that pissed me off. But anyway, just again, I'm gonna kick it to Elijah, the number one draft guru I know, and you know too. But go ahead, brother. Have at it.
I will certainly take that, and I appreciate it. I was very excited, obviously, on draft night. The two players that I wanted, Jahmyr Gibbs, Hendon Hooker, and Nate asked me, and I'll tell the story again because I want to make sure that it's on the live stream. Nate asked me after Hendon Hooker got drafted. He said, "Go back and find the clip where you were talking about Jahmyr Gibbs." So I went back. It was in episode 9 of our show. To put that in perspective, we're on episode, I think, 32 tonight. So It was a long time ago. It was back in October of last year. And I talked about Jahmyr Gibbs. And then directly after talking about Jahmyr Gibbs on that same episode, I introduced the podcast to Hendon Hooker. And I say introduced, I just mean that was when I first brought him up because these guys
introduced us to a hooker.
Anyway, so
that's
it was really interesting because in that episode, not only did I talk about these guys back in October, which was 6 months ago, legitimately, but I also talked about them before the Alabama-Tennessee game, which was for a lot of folks their waking up moment when it came to Jahmyr Gibbs, who scored 3 touchdowns in that game. And then you had Jalen Hyatt scoring 5 touchdowns in that game, and Hendon Hooker.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that too, Elijah. I hate to cut in on you, but I love you, brother. Don't cuss me out too bad. But remember, we were discussing about how during that game it was seemed like it was a question why that all his touchdown passes came to the same guy.
Yeah,
he was spreading that thing around.
Yeah,
he really was. It's just every time he threw that thing to Hyatt, he take it all the way.
Right.
Right. It ain't his fault.
I swear, I watched it. He was spreading it around, but every time Hyatt touched it, he was gone. He was like the best receiver in the country at that game, honestly, to me. But go ahead, brother.
And Hyatt's going to play for the Giants, and I think that's going to be an interesting situation for them because I think where they got Hyatt was a steal as well. But to go back to Hendon Hooker and Jahmyr Gibbs, like I said, I've been talking about them since October. And what I found kind of funny, and I'm not going to harp on this, but I just found it funny. Brad Holmes was talking about, somebody asked him, when did you realize that Jahmyr Gibbs was going to be your guy? And they were talking about the Tennessee game, but specifically the Texas game. That's where Brad Holmes decided, okay, Jahmyr Gibbs is someone I need to pay attention to. So technically, if you really want to go there, I knew it before our GM knew it.
So, but that Texas game, he was him and Bryce Young together, and that was handing it to him and throwing it to him, brought him back. That Texas route, you know what I'm talking about, Nate?
Yeah.
Texas route that running back around.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he might
the Texas route for people who don't know, a Texas route is basically your running back. The running back running an angle route, coming out of the backfield, hitting the outside, pretty much we'll say going over to the hash mark, or in between the hash and the left tackle, and breaking it right back over the middle. That's your Texas route / halfback angle.
The Theo Riddick route.
There you go.
Yeah.
Plant and cut.
So
man,
before we end this live stream, I did want to ask Nate a question as our resident defensive coordinator. I literally just thought about this. So obviously where I live, I jokingly refer to it as South Canada, but the team that a lot of people around my neck of the woods seem to root for is Buffalo. And Buffalo Bills fans are actually pissed at Lions fans because Buffalo wanted Jack Campbell. They wanted him bad. The fan base wanted him bad. And they didn't get him, and now he's going to be a Lion. So here's my question for Nate. Last season, we ran a 4-2-5 with Anzalone and Rodrigo.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we add Campbell into the fold, do we make a transition to a 4-3?
I thought about it. I thought about it the moment we drafted him. I think they run it situationally, depending on the matchups. Because, when we ran it, situationally, that's when you had those big games out of guys like Derek Barnes, and things like that, especially against against that guy that should have retired but ran to New York. But sorry, Brenda. That guy Cameron
Yeah.
Poe, but I could definitely see it. And I think it's to the point to where they're making it so that Anzalone, like I say, is going to be that veteran. We've seen what he did when it comes to the growth of Rodrigo.
Mhm.
So you're talking about the mentorship. You're talking about a changing of the guard. You're talking about bringing a guy in where he can learn from the guy who's got longer, in this defense than Anzalone. Your top two guys are Anzalone and Gardner Johnson. So, your guys on the back end, they're going to, he's going to be able to really help them continue to grow. Where we lost that with Deshaun Elliott, and Jack's going to be able to learn from Anzalone, man. So I'm good with it. I don't know if they go to 4-3, but it's going to be very appetizing.
When Brad Holmes made the call, and I was ear hustling, of course. When Brad Holmes made the call to Mr. Campbell, he said he can't wait to get you here to be the middle of our defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that the 4-3 is probably going to be a lot more.
Yeah, it's probably going to be utilized a lot.
It's going to be a lot more, but I can see it changing too. But
So
it depends on how well he does in it, though.
So here's another question for Nate. And this, I just want to pick Nate's brain on this, and then we'll probably wrap up this thing because it's after 8. So, Nate, we didn't draft a defensive end, and I know there's a lot of people out there who aren't happy about that. And here's my question.
But do not sleep on the undrafted guy that defensive end we got from Akron. Do not sleep.
Okay, so I'm not going there with it, but here
I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there for the people who don't know.
So here's
you have to do your own homework for that.
Yeah. So here's my question though. Have people taken for granted James Houston? Because I'm starting to wonder, because he had 8 sacks in 7 games last year. If for Brad Holmes, he looked at it and said, we don't need to draft a defensive end. We have James Houston to put on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. What do you think, Nate?
I definitely know that they're comfortable with him. Again, it's one of those though. Are you sure, that he's going to be able, for the workload? So that's where I think the training camp and all that's going to come into play. Again, when you're new, you're not on the scouting report. You're not, doing the game plan. Maybe the 3rd or 4th game, where he was getting on people's radar. But, he was never truly, gave full reins. He came on, after mid-season. The Lions knew him. People know I knew of him, but the other teams didn't. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But people just got to realize, remember, he was a 5-star athlete. He did have more sacks in college than Aiden Hutchinson had. Regardless if it was at a Power 5 or SWAC, he was a 5-star athlete and was at a Power 5 at one point. So the talent's there.
But do you think Brad Holmes is saying, okay, I believe in this player, so we're going to give him a chance to be a starter this year if he earns it, which I think last year he earned it. I mean, 8 sacks, that's pretty damn good. But I'm just thinking Brad Holmes is looking at it going, I don't know what these Lions fans are bitching about, because we have a guy who had 8 sacks last year in 7 games. We're going to give him a chance to be the starter instead of drafting a defensive end in the early rounds. That's kind of what I was just kind of curious about.
Yeah. I mean,
Brad, otherwise would.
I mean, I think again that's going to be up to that's up to what Dan Campbell sees, but they definitely like him. That's why they drafted him. Brad Holmes again, any draft pick, extra picks, whatever, with undrafted free agents is deadly in the hands of a true smartest guy in the room.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
agree. And you know what
when
I
he
love
has,
about that? I love the fact that Brad Holmes, the majority of his press conference, and I would encourage folks to go watch the press conferences. I understand that sometimes these press conferences are like eating a Popeye's biscuit with no water, but Brad Holmes makes it interesting by giving credit to all of his scouts.
Yep.
We never saw that with the other guy. The other guy just wanted to tell you how smart he was. So I love how Brad Holmes is truly a family guy, a team guy, and he is so quick to say, well, I appreciate you giving me love. This is the person you should be giving it to. So I think Brad Holmes is a stand-up guy for that. Bobby, anything else before we wrap up this live?
Yeah, just real quick, just a couple things. Don't forget about Charles Harris because he's still on the team. They can still do a committee by committee thing that too. So don't underestimate. It's all about health with him, but I mostly think that they believe in Houston, just like you said, brother. And lastly, it's the damn Mel Kiper BS is the reason why they selling these kids short, man. Lion fans disgust me, man. These guys don't do. They spend about a half an hour, maybe an hour if we lucky, on studying our team, man.
Right.
So they don't put the in depth in us on that. You know what I mean? They don't spend that much time like we do on there. So I'm challenging you, Lions fans, get your own perspective.
Get your own mind. Get your own opinion.
Yeah. Don't just look at what Mel Kiper mock draft that ain't never right gonna say, and don't pay attention to them damn grades. The fact that those guys were so confident in with who they were picking makes me comfortable with what I saw. So that do better, Lions fans. And Nate, look at my on the hunt mug, Nate.
I'm jealous.
on the hunt mug.
That's right. That's right. It looks.
Yeah, but go ahead, brother. I know you about to close this out.
Yeah. So just real quick before we close it out, sometimes we do an inside our day, talk about like personal accomplishments and things like that. I just wanted to throw this thing out there, and I'm pretty excited about it. So my first film, Ballad of Billy Badass, got picked up over the weekend, and so here's the thing: I knew this was coming, but I didn't want to say anything about it until it actually happened. And these fellows already knew about it too. So, but my movie, Ballad of Billy Badass, got picked up by Tubi TV. And Tubi TV, if you're not familiar, they offer free movies and free TV shows. And a lot of times their app is actually built into most, if not all, smart televisions. So you have access to my movie that way, but so do 64 million other people. And to me, it's been a long time coming. We released the movie back in 2021. We filmed it all throughout the pandemic, and the different challenges we had to overcome with that were crazy. And I actually had, I'll tell you this briefly. So last year, I applied for grant money with a local organization in my area, as a local arts organization. And I applied for grant money so that I could, pay people to do more work, because all my movies that I do, I pay people to be in them. I don't ask people to do that shit for free. So I was applying for grant money because my last movie, I made it happen out of my own pocketbook, but I was hoping that maybe I could get some grant funding, do some bigger things for future films. Okay. Well, when I applied for that, I was denied. And I asked them, not to be confrontational, but just so I knew, because it was the first time I'd ever applied for grant money before. I said, was there something that disqualified me? And what the lady said for the local arts community in my area, she said that, well, your first film wasn't a success. And I am not a petty person, but man, it's taken everything in my body not to send her a link and say, yeah, 64 million people can see my movie. You're right. It wasn't a success. But anyway, I'm not like that. but I'm just so happy that it's on Tubi TV. So you can find it. Just type in Ballad of Billy Badass on Tubi TV. You can watch it there. And I'm encouraging you to watch it there and not watch it here on our channel, because if you watch it there, we actually get paid because they have commercials in it every so often. So stick around through those commercials when you're watching on Tubi TV, and you'll know you're helping me, Bobby, Nate, and everybody else involved in the studio. And I also heard there is a possibility of maybe a sign being put up in the town that I live in, where we actually filmed some of the movies, saying Billy Badass filming location, which is kind of cool to think about as well. So I just wanted to share that with you all. So go watch Ballad of Billy Badass on Tubi TV. It's not for kids unless you let your kids watch rated R movies, in which case I don't judge. Just make sure they stay through the commercials too, trying to make that money. Anyway. So with that, Nate, did you have anything else before we wrap up?
No, sir.
All right. Well, hey, for everybody that is watching right now and was sticking with us through the YouTube hating on the podcast thing, we appreciate you. Not Patricia, appreciate you as well. I don't know if you can see him. Bobby, say that again.
Not Patricia. It's not Patricia.
All right.
Right.
So, wanted to make sure we could get not Patricia there on the live stream. So for Reggie Funches, who is not with us today, for Nate Rucker, for the #1 Lions fan, Bobby Bless, and for myself, Elijah Winfrey, have yourself a good night. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. And hey, as always,